Yeah, I got to get those vitamins in my system. All right, let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to your absolutely favorite podcast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Riffin with Griffin. Riffin with Griff. Riffin with Griffin. What's up, y'all? Back again. Riffin with Griffin. Kind of somber today. Gonna talk about it. You guys know my mom has dementia. She took off today, just went walking on her own. So we had to call the police. So that was a whole thing. So I'm in my feelings about that. And we're trying to get her into this drug trial. And I just want to talk about the placebo effect. Plus, I have some real world advice from a grown ass man. So welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Riffin. This is Riffin with Griffin. Woo woo woo. Woo woo woo. Woo woo. Woo woo woo. Woo 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 woo. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin. Here we are in the house. Riffin with Griffin. But before we start, where is it? Shout outs to our sponsor, DoorDash. Love DoorDash, but wish you didn't have to pay delivery fees? Well, dreams do come true. During summer of DoorDash, you get 0 delivery fees, and members enjoy exclusive new offers every week. That's 50% off your first order up to $15 value with code Griffin. Terms apply. Thanks for joining the show, guys. Welcome back to Riffin with Griffin, starring Erik Griffin. I should have done that during the intro. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Hit the notifications. Trying to build the show. I'm putting a lot of content now on Facebook and Instagram, so make sure you guys check that out. On Twitch every day. I love playing. I'm on Call of Duty. I'm playing a little Fortnite now. Decided to get into some Fortnite. So make sure you check me out on that. And news, I got an upcoming show this weekend, and here we go. What's up, y'all? This is Erik Griffin, and I'm coming to Creek and Cave, Austin, Texas. I'm coming your way. July 15th, July 16th. That's this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Come check me out, do my thing. I might even bring the singing mic. Who knows? But you know who it is. Erik Griffin. All right. Well, yeah, I did a little commercial of my own, right? Anyways, y'all, thanks for joining the show. And John, thank you so much for the super chat. Doing something different at the end of the show. I got some dope beats I've gotten in the past from some great musicians out there and producers who make music. So I'm just going to recap the show with a little freestyle. You know how I do. I'm 50, so that's how we do it, dad style. So anyways, thanks for being here. Yeah, man, kind of in a mood. You know what I mean? Don't want to bring everybody down, but it is what it is. Life happens. I do this live. Other shows they do, they pre-record, they have big time guests or whatever, but this is how we do it on Riffin with Griffin. So, I get a call. As you guys know, I've talked about this in the past, but my mom has dementia. I don't know if anybody's dealing with that in your life, but man, it's something else, man. I even want to just look it up and see what's the clinical, they say dementia is not a specific disease, but it's rather a general term for the impaired ability to remember, think, or make decisions that interferes with doing everyday activities. Alzheimer's disease is the most common type of dementia, though dementia mostly affects older adults. It's not a part of normal aging. Man, it's tough. I know if there's people out there that are dealing with this, if they dealt with it with their grandmothers and stuff like that. I'm 50 years old, so like my mom's like 81. She just turned 81, and she's had this for a few years now, and it's like, it's a tough thing to deal with. Dementia is one of these things that's so difficult to deal with because of what it does to the loved ones. I wish I could understand what it does to the person. I do feel like, because my mom's dementia is mild when it was first diagnosed, that it's probably very confusing. I remember, my parents live out in Oxnard, and I remember, my mom thinks she's someplace else. Okay. So I remember we're at lunch in the little cafeteria area where they live, and, we're talking with other people, and I say, how did you, I said, how did I drive up there? And I was like, oh, I took PCH, And I saw my mom, because she had recognition of like, well, PCH is in California, that's a code. Why would you take PCH? Because she thinks she's somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I know that that's confusing, and probably to hear other people talking about stuff. So that's probably making her confused, and I could tell sometimes, my mom's very stubborn. I mean, I get that from my mom. I'm stubborn as well. And I could tell that, like, she's, trying to fight, and it's like, she don't want to feel crazy and all that kind of thing. And it's like, that's the thing. They don't know. They think you're crazy, They're thinking, she's like, what are you talking about, PCH? You ain't on PCH. How could be on PCH when we're over here? You know what I mean? So that's a difficult part. So, and I know how it is, and I've gotten this question from people. They'll be like, hey, how do you deal with this? Or if people that are first starting to get with this, it is hard because this person that that you've known for so long of your life is essentially not the same person anymore. And that's difficult to like understand. And then you have your own selfish feelings about like you don't want to deal with it, or you see this and you're like, oh my God, and you just have awful thoughts sometimes, because sometimes you think to yourself like, man, maybe you want this to just end, or you try to avoid, or like, I mean, there's so many different thoughts that you go through, and it's like, it's hard for say someone else to understand, because they don't get it. If they don't, you're not living it, you don't get it. So, and things affect people in different ways, and people grieve in different ways. People process in different ways. Sometimes you might see somebody who's like going through something really terrible, but they seem to be keeping themselves busy. Some other people, they stay indoors and they don't do anything, or some people are very active, or some people try to crack a lot of jokes. You ever seen that kind of response where some serious stuff's going on, and that's just a nervous response? I mean, we all respond to things in different ways, man, So it can be like extremely difficult to process. And I'm just telling you out there, however you're processing it, you're not wrong. You're not alone out there. I mean, it can just be so heart-wrenching. It could just be heartbreaking. So, like, I'm in a situation now where, like, every time I see the phone and I see my stepfather's name, I just think the worst, And sure enough, this morning, it was early, I get a call, and he's like, your mom took off on me again. And this has happened before, so, she don't know where she is. She thinks she does. She thinks her grandmother's house is down the street, So she's like, well, I'm going to go to grandma's on my own. Mike's sleeping. I'm just going to go. And then, we have to call the police, and it's just like, I'm just hoping that there's nice people out there. The last time this happened, she fell down, because my mom's getting older, so she's a little feeble, so it's hard for her to walk. So she's just walking and walking and walking, and she don't know where she is. She's like, how come I haven't got here already? Or I don't know what's going on in her head. So this time they found her at a Starbucks, shout out to Starbucks, you know what I mean? So now I'm thinking I got to get some kind of like tracking thing, because she has a phone, but she don't always take the phone. She don't even understand the phone. So I got to find some kind of device or something that I can put, like we can make a little bracelet or a little like necklace she can wear all the time, or something. We put something in her shoes. You know what I mean? The shoes she wears all the time. We got to do something like that. So I know there's things out there. And if you have something like that in the comments, please, whatever you have, you know what I mean? So just put that if you know. So I mean, it's like, damn, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those things, man. And it's such a weird disease. So like, my mom thinks her grandmother's alive, And at first I tried to you try to like fight, you try to argue, you try to like rationalize. You're not supposed to do that. I didn't know at first. I talk about this on stage. Because it's like at first, I'm telling my mom like Mom, you're 78. Grandma would be 135 years old. Like, what are you talking about? Grandma ain't alive, And then she's fighting. Yes, she is, And so then I realized you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm saying about how it's weird. So she was talking about her uncle, which is like her grandmother's son, right? And she's just talking about him. Ooh, I remember him. And then she goes like this. She goes, ooh, but he's probably long dead. I mean, he'd be like 99 years old at this point. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking to myself, so in your brain, that your grandmother's son should be dead, but not his mom? You know what I mean? So like, as we sit here and try to rationalize how come she don't understand, it's just a difficult thing, right? So, I don't know, man. I just, I don't know if I'm even handling it the right way. It's like, shout out to my stepdad. He's just the salt of the earth because he's just out there dealing with it on a daily basis. And I know I'm not doing as much as I can. I mean, they live kind of like, it's not conveniently close. And I'm traveling. I just got married. I'm just, you know what I mean? You're just trying to live your life. You know what I mean? And it's just like, so I don't know. I have to I'm trying to process this better. So for you people out there that are dealing with it too, and you find yourself being like, ooh, I don't want to see my dad, my grandma, my mom. I don't want to see them like that. I totally know how you feel. And it's a normal feeling. And we just have to look past the negative and look past our own selfish, how things make us feel. And you think of it in reverse. Like, how would it feel, if something was going on with me? How would it make her feel? And what would she want to do? And you know what I mean? So it's like, you just have to find ways to cope. And it's just that's why you got to stay healthy, man. You got to work out, you got to take your vitamins, you got to sleep right, and that's the hardest thing to do when your life is feeling like some major thing is going on in your life. It's like, how do you still stay healthy? A really good friend of mine is dealing with something, she just had a baby and now she's pregnant and she got the news that her husband has a terminal cancer. And it's like, oh my God, what do you do? So I'm trying to tell her really, now it's like, she's in a position where she got to take care of herself. She cannot afford to be depressed and be sad and have that energy affect her new baby, if you believe in that. And it's like, man, how do you stay focused and present and, remember to eat, remember to sleep, because it's bigger than you. You know what I mean? It's like, damn. I mean, life, man, it's like when you're young, you think nothing's going to affect you. And you think man, I could conquer the world, or whatever is in front of you is the most important thing in your life, whether it be school or a job or some kind of one-time thing that you're doing, and you're just like, oh my God, this is the most important thing in the world, and then as you get older and you just you reprioritize, and then look, for me, it's I just got married, so I'm sitting here man, I have to take care of myself. It's my friend was saying oh, if the doctor, the best case scenario is he has 20 years left, and to them, because they're young, they're like, oh my God, this is so terrible. But then I started to think, well, shit, I'm 50. I mean, do I have 20 years left? Should I sit here with my wife and be like, babe, I probably only have 20 years left. What are we going to do? So it's no, you have to live life to the fullest no matter what. Easier said than done, but just really start to think about it, and I'm really thinking about that. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, I got my multivitamins. I got my rowing machine downstairs. I got, as you get older, you start taking all kind of stuff that you didn't think you needed to take, I got my omega You know what I mean? Got my omega-3, 675 milligrams of omega-3. Taking my Olipop, my probiotic soda. You know what I mean, y'all? Got my ubiquinol. I don't even know how to say it. I never know how to say names or what anything is. But I had to get a new bottle of this stuff. Rachel goes to Sprouts. She's the one that got me into that. Because she's always, just looking fresh and young. She looks just like, I see pictures of Rachel when she was like 17 and side by side. And I'm like, God damn, you look the same. So, and that's because she doesn't eat dairy and she doesn't like bread and she does, it's like all these things that she just naturally did that is probably affected, and she sleeps forever. Rachel will, if she got a day off, this woman will sleep 10 hours. Right. I see people in the chat. I know you're going to die no matter what. So it's like, live life to its fullest until that actually happens. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. So anyways, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is, there's a lot of drug trials. There's always a disease or something and they're trying to solve it. They have the drugs, they've gone through all the tests, and now they're at the point where it's like human trials. And so, there's a lot of drug trials for dementia, Alzheimer's, because they're really trying to solve this disease. And I shout out to the people doing it. So UCLA has this drug trial, and my mom went on an interview to do it. So she had to go on it. My mom's birthday was on July 4th. And, so she's about to turn 81. And so 80 is the cutoff. So they had to get her in before. So she went, did the tests and all this stuff. So we're trying to see. So, but here's what I'm trying to talk about today is and I tried to talk about this on King and the Sting, but these idiots, you know what I mean? What was I trying to be serious with those clown faces? Love them though. But when you're in a drug trial, part of it is not everyone gets the drug. So it's like a blind study where some people have the drug and some people have a placebo. And so I thought about that. And it didn't make sense to me because isn't the placebo effect, and if there's doctors that listen or a doctor, I would love to hear what someone has to say about this, scientists and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you my layman's understanding of what I think a placebo effect is. And so you have a placebo. And so maybe the person that has the whatever thing it is, they elect to go into this drug trial. They're not given the drug, they're given a placebo. But in that process, the placebo effect, they start to feel better and whatever because they're in this trial. But to me, it's because they know they're in this trial. So is it going to cure cancer? I don't know if that's ever happened. I mean, I don't know if the placebo effect has actually cured anything major, but who knows? There's probably some things out there. There's probably some story or two about somebody that's like cured this and it was just a sugar pill, But it has been shown to help with depression and anxiety and things like that when people think they're taking something for it in their brain, those kind of brain things. So, but my question about it and something that gave me pause is my mom doesn't know she has dementia. People with dementia and Alzheimer's don't know they have it. They think everything's fine, that they're living a normal life. So how would a placebo effect work? If they don't know they're in a trial, how does it work? I get how it works with every other disease. But how can it work with somebody that don't even know something's wrong? They don't even know they're in a trial. She's just going with my stepfather down to the thing. I do remember the first time we went to talk to the doctors about it, and it was me, my stepfather, and her. And this was the first time I really saw it firsthand. It's the doctor's there, and he's like, all right, just talk about it, man. And because I was like, you want me to talk about this in front of her? And he was like, well, we have to do it. So I'm like, well, okay, my mom has dementia. I didn't say that. I said, well, my mom thinks her grandmother's alive. And my mom was like, what? She was so confused. She was like, what are you talking about? And then they did these tests, in front of me. And so my stepfather and I are sitting there with her, and the doctor's asking her certain questions, and we're not supposed to help. And to see it, like, because, like, when they have dementia, Alzheimer's, a portion of their personality is still there. It's very fascinating. You know, my mom's sense of humor is still intact. She's so funny and lovable, and she's just, you know, very sweet, and she makes these like really weird jokes, and I'm like, Mom, you know. But when it comes to like, the doctor's like, okay, name me like, you know, animals that start with the letter F, or like, you know, it's that kind of thing, you know. Draw a clock and make it 11:30, you know. And it was like, you know, what does a train and a bicycle have in common? Or it was all these kind of like, you know, really like cognitive thinking things that she just was lost, you know. And I was like, God damn, this is tough, you know. So, but then we left. I remember this. We left the doctor. She was still kind of there. Like, you know, I could tell. She was like, what's going on, type of thing, you know. And I'm like, well, Mom, you know, we had to see the doctor. And then she started to cry, you know. She started to cry like as if she understood something was wrong with her, you know. But then shortly after, she was like, are we going to Grandma's house? You know what I mean? So in that short moment, I was like, oh, man, you know? So anyways, so like, I just don't know, like, what is that? You know, so I had that poll up, you know, I put this poll up because I wanted to see what people thought. Like, does the placebo effect with dementia patients, placebo effect with dementia patients works? Nope, not even sure. So I guess the majority of the people are not even sure, you know, in the poll there, you know. And I totally, I mean, I don't know either. And then, like, how am I supposed to feel? You know, it's like there's a part of you that wants to have hope that one of these things, this thing is going to work, and she's going to get her personality and she's going to get her memories back. So, like, is it a placebo effect for me and my stepfather? Or are we going to sit here and be, like, having hope that she's going to, like, retain some of the, you know? So it's like, it's a very, like, up in the air type of thing. And you know, it can be frustrating. So I don't know if, you know, however many other people out there that are in chat right now, if you're dealing with this or if you've dealt with it, but it can be, it's something else, man. You know, it's something else. Like, you know, these moments that you have, you know, I mean, sometimes it's just funny, and it's just like, that's just the way I deal with how I process. Cause you know, I'm a comic, you know what I mean? And I laugh at tragedy sometimes, cause I look at the nuance of it. But like, I'm driving with her one time, and we pass a house, and she goes, ooh, that house. See that house? My grandmother took me to that house when I first got to the United States. And I was like, oh, okay. Which is like, it's not true, you know? 2 minutes later. Oh, see that house? She's like, that house right there. That's the house my grandma brought. After 3 houses, I was like, which house is it, woman? I don't know why I said that, but it just was like, I was in that moment, you know? Because that's who I am, you know what I mean? If you guys see what I talk about on here all the time and how I am, like my stand-up and stuff, I'm like, which house is it, you know? And I shouldn't have said that, because she, in that one single moment, she thought, oh. Then she was like, oh, never mind, you know? And I was like, I felt terrible, you know? So I really try not to be like that. But, man, it's hard, you know? I just really like stuff to make sense, you know? I argue and, you know, I go in about things. And so when something just completely doesn't make sense, it's hard not to be like, oh, you know? That's one of the hardest things to deal with in that situation. So, few people listening, sorry, I was drinking a soda. So call to action. If you are a doctor, you're a friend of a doctor, you're a scientist, you're a friend of a scientist. I don't know how many scientists are watching my show, but I am curious about this. I am curious about the power of the placebo effect. There was a Harvard study, actually on the website right now. You know, there's a Harvard study about the power of the placebo effect. It says, treating yourself with your mind is possible, but there's more to the placebo effect than positive thinking. And that's very fascinating to me. They go on to say, your mind can be a powerful healing tool when given the chance. The idea that your brain can convince your body a fake treatment is a real thing, the so-called placebo effect, and thus stimulating healing has been around for millennia. Now science has found that under the right circumstances, a placebo can be just as effective as traditional treatments. Very fascinating. The placebo effect is more than positive thinking, believing a treatment or procedure will work. It's about creating a stronger connection between the brain and body and how they work together, says Professor Ted Kupchak of Harvard. So that sentence right there is my question. So what he says there, it's about creating a stronger connection between the brain and body and how they work together. So to me, if you're talking about a dementia patient, their brain and body are not working together at all anyway. So how could that possibly work? So my point is, if you're a dementia patient, if you're taking your grandma, whoever, in for this dementia drug trial, I feel like once they do the blind, like pennies out of a hat or whatever they're taking to figure out who's getting the drug and who's not, I think the people that they know are getting a placebo, they need to let them go. But I just don't know. Because maybe also the treatment, like maybe the placebo effect is not also just for the patient, but for the nurses and people treating them. Do they know? Like, who knows it's a placebo and it's not? Is there a person that knows and then there are other people that don't know? I would really love to, if I'm going to have a guest, I'd love to have like some sort of medical guest on just to discuss this, just to be like, how does this work? So it's really interesting. And by the way, it goes, experts have concluded that reacting to a placebo is not proof that a certain treatment doesn't work, but rather that another non-pharmaceutical mechanism may be present. I mean, do you believe in the mind and body? You could control your mind and body. Can you self-heal? I mean, you get into like some foo-foo about meditating and breathing and all this kind of stuff. And I think there is something to it. I mean, I have like bad lower back pain. So I started doing like these lower back pain stretches, and I do it every day. I do it twice a day. And man, when you're stretching, one day I should show you guys my lower back stretching routine. Maybe I'll do that on my podcast, just some other content, because I don't know. I need to get up to 100,000 followers. Viewers, right? I mean, can I do it? I don't know. I love my little fan base, but it's like, hey, I'm trying to grow. What is it going to take to grow? Y'all should give me some real ideas, not just criticism, but just give me some ideas. But anyways, so I do these back exercises, but I tell you this, when you're stretching, the thing that makes stretching work the most is breathing. Like when you inhale and then you exhale while you're in the middle of a stretch, it enhances the stretch in a way. You go deeper. It's almost like you're pushing your body in a very relaxed way to do the stretch even more. It's really fascinating, And so I find myself breathing. Or even when I find myself upset, I take some meditation breaths. Let's take some meditation breaths right now. We should do that as a little Riffin with Griffin yoga sesh right now. So it's like you take in for 4, out for 6. In for 4, out for 6. So out for 6. And just even doing it one time, there's something about it, you know, to calm yourself down, to like focus your energies. And so then you get it. Then when people talk about this though, and then they start to talk about it in a way that sounds like you sound like a crazy person. You know, when they start talking about chakras and you know what I mean? They start getting into this weird thing. That's when you start to go off the rails. But man, just start with yoga, start with breathing, start with like, you know, if you're doing just even if you're just stretching your calf, like I stretch, and then you find out when you have like lower back pain, you find out all the other muscles that are connected that could alleviate some pain. So like when you have back pain, you gotta stretch your hammies and your calves, because all that tightness pulls your muscles on your back, and that's part of like making your back hurt. So when I get up in the morning, I stretch my calves. I do like 30 seconds each calf. I do it a couple times. And then I do like a sort of like, mountain pose. But I use the bed. And then I stretch my hammies. And then I go down on the ground and I do like the cat pose. I do that, and then 2 different types of cat poses. And then I'll do this pigeon stretch where, you put your leg underneath you stretch your leg, you bend your leg in front of you, and then you bend over your leg, and then you stretch out your sciatic, all that stuff. Man, talk about instant back pain relief. Listen to me, instant back pain relief. So, but in that process, I'm starting to feel like, and here's one, I talk about anything. I don't care. So this is something too. I want you guys to, because some of you guys are going to think this is like a nasty topic, but listen to me. When you're on the toilet and you feel constipated, or you feel like you're not getting it out, do this. Trust me. Do your meditation breaths. What you do is you breathe in, and then when you breathe out, release all of the tension, because you don't realize how much every day, even right now, you're holding your bladder and your insides. You're keeping it tight. You're holding it in so you don't just, poop yourself like, at Starbucks or pee your pants. So you're always locked up. So when your body is locked up like that, sit on the toilet and meditate. Breathe. And tell you, if you could control your body, let's say you could control your insides, and I believe that you can, think about what that would feel like and release. And just sit there for as long as it takes. I'm telling you, and you just breathe in, breathe out, and every time you breathe out, you release. And you release, and I'm telling you, your butthole is going to do stuff that you didn't even know was going to happen. You're going to be like, oh, it's just going to like do stuff on its own. You'll just be sitting there, and all of a sudden, you'll be like, oh man, it worked, like without you even doing anything. Like your body's working on its own. It's finally like the faucet is open, and boom. And then and there you go down. You know what I mean? So, I'm just saying there's something to that. So, but anyways, like I say, shout out to everybody who, like, if you know somebody who, you might even know somebody who like studies this. I just would like to talk to somebody about dementia patients and the placebo effect, guys. All right, let's get back to, I got to pay some bills. DoorDash. So right now they're talking about, they have a special, okay? So ordering all your summer essentials with Dash Pass by DoorDash is a great way to get everything that you need, because you can get anything from DoorDash. You can order stuff like, you get shampoo, all that kind of stuff that you need from the store that you didn't necessarily get. Maybe you went and you forgot some stuff. You can use DoorDash. Summer's in full swing, and the celebration begins during the Summer of Dash Pass by DoorDash, with weekly members-only offers and new items released every week. You can shine bright and feel cool all season long. Say hello to summer savings during the Summer of Dash Pass from DoorDash, with 0 delivery fees, exclusive items, and more than 25,000 members-only offers nationwide. With your Dash Pass by DoorDash, members can save an average of $4 to $5 on every order you place for delivery or pickup. Shine bright during DoorDash's Summer Dash Pass and get 50% off your first order up to $15 value. Use promo code Griffin at checkout when you spend $12 or more. That's 50% off your first order up to $15 value when you sign up for DoorDash during Summer of Dash Pass using promo code Griffin. Don't forget, that's code Griffin, Griffin, for 50% off your first order up to $15 value. Dash Pass benefits only on eligible orders that meet the minimum subtotal. Terms apply. All right. Wait, I hear like a buzz. I don't know what that is. All right, I think that's my mic. I don't even know. Whatever. Let me plug this back in. So, oh yeah. Thank you, DoorDash. Thank you, DoorDash. Thank you. All right, guys. So now I got some. Wait. Oh, here it is. Real world advice from a grown ass man. Okay. I got some real world advice from a grown ass man. I usually put the things on the screen, but I didn't get to do it today because I just was like, guys, I was going through it today. So I got it on my screen. So I'll tell you some of the ones. I got to look through some of them. Some of them are good. Some of them I already answered on Instagram. I like to do it on Instagram. So make sure you check out my Instagram at Erik Griffin. Let's go to Instagram so you can see. See my Instagram because I've done some. I'm putting more content from my Facebook. From my podcast on Instagram. So make sure you guys check that out. More regularly. If you're not already following me on Instagram, check me out on Instagram, y'all. I got a bunch of like stuff from the podcast and just more pictures, stuff from my gaming and stuff like that. So, check me out on Instagram. Even if Instagram's even still a thing. Okay, so let's get to it. So, let's see. What's some good ones here? Going to college. How should I socialize with people? It's a different dynamic. I mean, yeah, high school, when you're leaving high school, it's a certain bubble you have in high school. So there's like certain restrictions and stuff that you have because your parents are telling you where you can and cannot go. Maybe you have your first job, you just got a car, but there's a lot of rules and restrictions. And so when you're dealing with people, and these are people these are people you spend hours with daily, a lot of times your high school friends. But when you go to college, it is different. The main difference is that you have freedoms. No one's watching over you. So that's the only difference in dynamic, but just be yourself, you just go out, you meet people. Remember, these are people that are pretty much like-minded. They're out here trying to learn and get a degree and, be an adult just like you. So you already have something in common when you first get to college. So if you're living in the dorms, especially, look around. These are people that are just like you. So, get out of your shell, open up and just be like, hey man, can we, I'd love to, talk, or, you're going to meet women or meet men, whatever your thing is. And romantically, I'm saying, and, it's just a whole new experience, but just let it happen. And just remember that you're not like that different from all of these people. They're going through the same feelings as you. They're leaving home and they're living on their own for the first time too, or they're going to be going to college and seeing like all these different adults and making choices and decisions that are going to affect the rest of their life just like you. So just be open to that and see where it goes. Good luck. All right. Let's see. Got a lot of silly ones. How do I end my relationship with chocolate? Hey man, we all got addictions, or we got things that we like, it's like, chocolate, sugar, sodas, donuts, or, eating too much red meat, drinking too much coffee. Moderation. Everybody, just try to find some moderation. That's the hardest part, that is the hardest part. Here's somebody trying to be a new comic, trying to find the nerve to get on stage and tell some jokes. Any advice on powering through? I mean, one of the number one fears, still to this day, one of the top fears is public speaking. Even over death, I think public speaking is over death. So I get it. The only way to do it is to do it. I mean, I do recommend taking a class. If you can find some sort of like improv class or comedy acting, anything like that, where you have a safe, comfortable environment with a teacher and you can learn how to like get in front of people and, just express yourself in a way you haven't done before. It's actually a very fun, safe environment, very loose, very comfortable environment that you can learn to be vulnerable. If you're someone that doesn't need that and you're just ready to go, you think you could do it, go do it. Find an open mic, sign up, and just do it, Or, you might know a friend who has like they're doing like a Christmas, party for a job. And you're like, hey, can I go tell some jokes? Like you can create things on your own and just try to just get out there and do it. That's my best advice for you. Just get out there and do it. This one was tough. And by the way, I always say this, I'm not an expert. I'm just giving you my thoughts on your questions. But if you do have some serious issues going on and some traumas, I highly recommend therapy. Therapy is great, man. Therapy's not just about, solving your problems. It's about organizing your thoughts and seeing patterns of why you feel the way you feel with an expert who recognizes these patterns, who studies these things, and who's able to see, hey, this is caused from this and this, and you see these root causes, and you might have you come up with some coping mechanisms to help you power through. It may not solve it, but you can have a better understanding, and that's why I highly recommend therapy. If anybody has any questions in chat, if you have a real question in chat, I will be more than happy to, give you some advice in chat too. So the reason why I said that about therapy is I got one right here. I just found out my child is a bully. I have no idea how to parent that. Any advice? I am not a parent. I hope to be one. And I guess that's a fear that all parents have, is that their kid is going to be terrible, right? So that's a tough thing. So what are you supposed to do? And I think it's just a matter of like some open communication, just like really being more involved probably, finding out how this kid is feeling. Some therapy sounds like, some counseling is in order there, and seeing what your part in helping facilitate, a better lifestyle, or to find out what's going on. Why is this person lashing out? Why is your kid lashing out? What's going on? You probably want to make sure it isn't because of you, or isn't because of, or you might find out there's nothing you did. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think this is just the hardest part, that there's no manual. There's no like, how do you raise a kid right? There's people that come from really great homes and they turn out to be, bad things happen. So hopefully it's just a phase, and you obviously you found out, so you want to get involved. So that's the best part about, that's the best thing you could do as a parent right now, is just be involved, get involved. So even reaching out to some strange comedian is like the first step, but now it's time to be like, hey, maybe it's time to go to the school. Find out who the counselors are, the guidance counselor, the homeroom teacher, someone there to be like, hey, this is going on. I'm finding this out. What can we do? Get some help. It's okay. We're not, again, your kid doesn't pop out with a manual. You know what I mean? It's not like, you do like, it's like you're doing an unboxing. You know what I mean? Like you're in the operating room, like you're like, my wife's about to have a baby, or I'm about to have a baby. The baby's coming out. And then it comes out with like instructions like IKEA. I wish, right? And then we could be like, how to make sure your kid doesn't end up on the pole, or how to make sure your kid doesn't end up as a bully. It doesn't work like that. So it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Okay? It's okay. All right. All right, here's a good one too. And this is like, I'm in a relationship. So this is like one of these kind of things that you realize that happen in relationships. How do I tell my 25-year-old fiance her relationship with parents is unhealthy, manipulative, codependent? Oh man, it's tough. I guess when you have a relationship with someone and it's serious to the point where you're engaged, you have to remember that you are building your own life. And you're building your own life, your own family. You're starting your own little community. And yes, these other people in your life are there, but you have to find a way to strengthen your relationship with each other. And do it with compassion, you know? You want to have a positive outlook about it. You don't want to be like, man, your parents suck. You want to like encourage, like, hey, maybe you should make your own choice, or hey, maybe we should try. What do you think? You know, encourage her to think for herself by asking her questions, by asking for her advice, by asking for her what her thoughts are, what her wants are, and try to work it out as a team, as a unit, because that's what you're creating. And no matter who's your outside influences and forces are in your life, no matter how important they are, if you can't create that bond with each other to make sure that you got each other's back, then you're going to have a bigger problems than just worrying about her parents who you think are this. But hey, good luck. Okay, I already did that one. Okay, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next one. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is one of these ones where I would suggest some therapy for this person, but how do I get out of depression? I realize it stems from the absence of my father. So, I mean, even recognizing that is good. So you're already trying to recognize a root cause. So now it's like, you have to just try to deal with those feelings by, being a better person yourself. I don't know how old you are, if you have kids of your own. Maybe, my mom did that for me. She had a terrible relationship with her parents, and she made sure that she didn't want to be that way with me. So she actually spoiled me. She went the complete opposite way, right? So this is one of these issues that you need to talk out, that you need to find someone to talk to. BetterHelp.com/Griffin. It's not a sponsor today, but I will say, it's very helpful to go to something like that. But that's one of those things. I mean, if you really feel like that's the reason, that's a good start. I just feel like that's a good start. You're already aware of it. You're like, hey, something's going on. I'm feeling this way, and I think it's because of this. Then hit that head on. But don't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. Don't sit around and feel like, don't let the depression fester. It's either you want to handle, you want to do something about it. It's the reason why you even reached out like this. So continue that process and continue to reach out, because it is something. This one's kind of funny. Am I a bad person for getting a job knowing damn well I have to quit in 1 month? Probably. You're not a bad person, but you're irresponsible. You're not a bad person, but you're inconsiderate. I find that to be inconsiderate, but I get it. You got to do what you got to do. You need the money. You went for this job and you think this is my safety, but I'm trying to get something else. And if that comes through, I'm going to go that one and I'm going to leave this one. I get it. And I'm sure they can find someone else. But, hey, sometimes you make selfish choices for yourself, but just be aware of it. And you actually are. You're totally aware of it. But I wouldn't say bad person, but it is an inconsiderate act. So just keep that in mind. I am the only family my husband has, and sometimes it's suffocating. I feel obligated to always include him. Okay, tough one. Let me read that again. I'm the only family my husband has, and sometimes it's suffocating. I feel obligated to always include him. I'll tell you what's wrong with even how that sentence is written, is that you're assuming that you need to do that, and you are speaking for him. And that's just you being compassionate and feeling for your husband, but don't speak for him. Communicate with him. I think you should communicate. I think you should go to your loved one and be like, hey, I know how it is. You don't have a lot of family and I'm here for you, but are you okay? Are you good with me, like, going to hang out with my friends? Are you good with me? Like, and you might be surprised. Your husband might be like, yeah, cool. Go do you. Thanks for thinking about me. But I think that instead of assuming how your loved one feels, I think it's important to actually communicate how you feel they feel and find out if that's true, And just having a conversation, I think, is important, It's super important to have those types of conversations to keep the communication going. But don't assume. You know what I mean? Don't assume. All right, let's see. Let's do a couple more. All right. Here's another one about depression. I can't stop feeling like my depression is selfish. I have to put my family first, but it's getting hard. I mean, that's some good self-awareness right there. It's good self-awareness to be like, hey, ooh, this is something that's me. This is my thing, and I see how it's affecting everyone else. That's the first step in you being like, I need to do something about this. What do I'm going to suggest? Get you some therapy, man. Or, start working out. Start eating better. Start sleeping better. So make yourself feel better because you want to be there for your family. So take the steps to do that. But that's good self-awareness. I think it's a good start. So I'm going to give you a pat on the back for that. So now follow through. Take those steps. All right. All right. I see somebody in chat. Hey, Griff, I'm 35 and I don't have a lot of experience with women because of my anxiety disorder. My question is, now that I'm ready, should I date younger or older women? Ha! First of all, ridiculous. You start with all this like really good self-awareness and then you go into this sort of shallow zone. But you know what? You're probably being genuine. It's a genuine thing. Here, this is the thing. It don't matter. Like, age really is just a number. But at first, like, find out. Like, open yourself up. Be vulnerable. You're aware of, like, the things that are going on with you. You're ready to handle it and take care of it. You're trying to keep it under order. You're trying to keep it in control. But, you're looking out for yourself and everyone around you by doing that. But now just open yourself up. You might meet a girl that's younger than you. You might meet someone that's older than you. It really is about their experience. Just because someone's young doesn't mean that they're like dumb and inexperienced. And just because someone's older means that they know it all. I mean, everybody's got different levels of stuff. So you have to just be vulnerable and open and find out. So get yourself out there. Just being open to that is going to be a great thing. That's what I suggest that you do. All right. Anyways, guys, here's a new thing we're going to start doing on the podcast because I'm trying to just, I'm trying to try new things. I'm trying to get out here. And so this is one of the things I'm going to try to do. I get a lot of great beats. My buddy, one of the kids that sends me stuff is this kid named Chris Yu. So thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin. Remember, I'll be at the Creek in the Cave in Austin, Texas, Friday and Saturday this week. Come check me out. Probably going to do Kill Tony on Monday. That's why I'm staying in Austin for an extra day for that. So just check me out if you're in the Austin area. But my boy Chris Yu sends a lot of dope beats, and this is one of those beats. Here on Riffin with Griffin. Okay. Ooh, that's the show. Watch the old man flow. What we talk about today? Talk about it every day. Placebo Effect. Do you get wrecked? Do it work? I don't know. Erik Griffin with this sick ass flow. Real world advice from a grown ass man. Do it, man. Helping people out. Looking for the chat, shout out. Riffin Griffin. Everybody's different living. Check out my merch with no quirks. Thanks for those super chats. Send a beat. Make sure it's not whack. I'ma rap on that beat. You in the chat, just move your feet. 50 years old, still got it like it's gold. Erik Griffin, Riffin. So that's how we gonna do it. I'm gonna recap the show with some producer raps that people send in. Thanks for watching Riffin with Griffin, y'all, and I will see you next week.